I think it's a good thing. In fact, over the years, we've wanted a lot more, but there's, some councils and government can put in some excessive charges for you to have a table and chair out in the street. So that's quite frustrating. So I think it's a good thing, but at the moment, our restaurant industry needs a lot of help. And as I've said in the past, that we could lose up to 30 to 40% of restaurants in the next few months. I mean, the government's done a great job with JobKeeper, which has been fantastic. And I hope, for the sake of our industry, the restaurant industry and hospitality, they keep JobKeeper going. And there's other things that can be done to help our industry. And the government, because our businesses, restaurants and cafes, make a very tiny margin in profit. And if they can help us with, let's look at abolishing the fringe benefit tax, or even putting it on pause for some times. And Pete, what about this? We employ people and we get taxed for it, payroll tax. How good is that? Does that make sense to you? If the government want people to come back to work, and what we want, the farmers have been through drought, bushfire, and all this. Restaurants closed. We're not buying produce. So let's get restaurants opening, give them all the help they can by looking at these fringe benefits tax, payroll tax. Let cafes and restaurants have seating outside without charges. I think the restaurant business has too many charges.
Okay, so just to clarify on that point, then you're saying the only way that this al fresco dining can work here in Australia, and, it's a very European model. France is famous for it. Italy's famous for it. So the only way this can work is if council drops its charges.
100%. Yeah. Why restaurants and cafes cannot have more charges? And we'll get to that stage of France. How nice is it sitting outside, having a glass of wine and having a meal? And at this current stage, it's going to be healthier for you.
Okay, yeah, beautiful. And also on this plan to ease restrictions further from the 1st of June, Luke, so you're allowed to have 50 patrons in restaurants. A lot of restaurants and pubs had said you can't do it with 10 people, you can't do it with 20 people. Can 50 make it more economically viable?
I think you did right. 10 people was not great. And I think our Premier Gladys has done a fantastic job, because we all thought it was going to go to 20, but she's upped it to 50. And I think that is a great start. Our restaurant at the Glass at the Sydney Hilton, we seat 240 people. So we're going to wait for the next stage, stage 3, where perhaps that's 100 or above. We've got a little restaurant in Dank Street, Waterloo, where we're opening now for the 10. And we've got bookings already from June 1st with 50-odd people. So that's a good thing. You'll see a lot of restaurants and cafes opening, but there will be a few holding back as well.
So just for now, so your main restaurant, the larger one, it'll still remain closed because 50 is not enough. So what would you need? Probably 100, would you say?
100 plus to get that open, because, Pete, it costs a fortune just to turn the lights on.
No, and staff, to pay staff as well. Yeah,
exactly right. But JobKeeper has been great.
Now, you did mention fringe benefits tax. So, I mean, are you referring then to the power lunch? So they can realistically revive the industry.
As I said, we need all the help we can get, and people are entertaining in corporate offices and things like that. We want them to come back into our restaurants, entertain there, and not be penalised for it. And that would give us a huge help. If it's 1-2% towards our profit margin, it will keep some of these guys afloat a lot longer.
Okay, well, I guess we're moving in the right direction after, everything was basically shut down recently, Luke. Just finally, you've had a long relationship with Virgin Airlines for a long time. How disappointed were you at its recent collapse?
Yeah, look, obviously it was very disappointing. I think the current management, perhaps, they bought back into Velocity for 800 million odd. Was that a smart move? I'm not sure. There's talk of, what I read, I'm not sure whether it's true or not, that they're going to turn into a cheaper airline. I mean, Qantas needs competition, and good competition, and that's what Virgin Australia was. And had its business class model, etc., and a good product. Look, sadly, I'm owed nearly 400,000 from through Virgin Australia for staff and things like that. So a lot of people have been hurt by it. I hope it gets up there again, because Qantas needs that competition, because we want the prices down for the Australian public.
So will you be hoping to continue your relationship with Virgin in whatever form it takes going ahead?
I would like to, but I must say with current management, there's been not much conversation.